I'm really excited about this group of women because when we were trying to brainstorm about different women to come, Sabrina's name came up right away. Yes, right away, Sabrina. Sabrina Furminger is a Canadian journalist and author based in British Columbia, a graduate of Queen's University. Who went to Queen's? Anyone? Oh, yeah, little. And a veteran of one of the oldest newsrooms in Canada. But you're not that old. The newsroom is old. Today, Sabrina's area of focus is Vancouver's dynamic film and television industry. She's the pen behind Real People, a weekly column in Vancouver's The West Ender newspaper.
When I think about my childhood, I'm immediately 6 years old again, in my backyard in Montreal. What was amazing about my backyard was that it wasn't just a backyard. Yes, there was a fence, and there was a swing set, and there was a picnic table, but it was more than that for me, young performer and storyteller and adventurer. And when I think about that picnic table, I spent a lot of time standing on top of that picnic table. I found a photo recently where I'm wearing a red jogging suit and Smurf boots, and I am performing, I am singing, I am dancing, and I am telling stories. When I'm in that backyard, that was for me. That was me being creative and curious and adventurous and carefree. As we grow up, the world can kind of just scare out of us. We lose that sense of play. We lose that confidence.
So thank you for the opportunity to be here with you today. The energy in this room is electric and just so positive. Y'all are better than coffee, which I appreciate because this is me going outside of my comfort zone a little bit. So this feels like a very positive and warm and welcoming and safe environment. So thank you. I really can't think of anywhere else I'd rather be this Friday morning than here with all of you. So thank you for this opportunity. You're all leading moms, so thank you. Before going further, I do wish to acknowledge the ancestral, traditional, and unceded Aboriginal territories of the Coast Salish peoples, in particular the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations in Metro Vancouver, on whose territory we work, live, and play. Okay. I'm sitting crisscross applesauce in a blanket fort. Beside my knee, a cup of steaming tea is sitting on top of a stack of little golden books. I've got my laptop on my lap, and 12 stuffed animals, mostly dogs of assorted sizes, are staring up at me as I peer into the screen and tap away. I'm pretty sure the dogs are judging me because I'm not reading out loud like I usually do when their owner is sitting beside me. In the next room, their owner, my 5-year-old daughter, Mari, is sleeping. Now, we built this sturdy blanket fort for her earlier in the day using pink bed sheets and every single pillow and cushion in the house. It took us about half an hour to construct, and we had to restart a couple of times in order to bring in more chairs to prop up the structure. Once it was built, we played Haunted Castle and read Harry Potter for a couple of hours right before bedtime. Now, she is dreaming of Hogwarts and owls and the boy who lived, and I am holed up in our castle, hard at work at my other job, my paying job, while she slumbers. Before I had a daughter, I had a desk. Technically, I still have a desk, but that's where I fold laundry and respond to the endless stream of birthday party invitations, and not where I actually perform anything having to do with my paid work. 6 years ago, knowing that I was about to be the stay-at-home mom who works from home, I did a lot of reading about how I could maneuver my 24/7 life so that I could raise my child and shift gears when I needed to focus on my work. And having a desk, a dedicated space for this paid gig, came up in a lot of the literature. So I have it. I don't use it anymore. These days, I'm more of a blanket fort girl. Now, as Christine said, I write a weekly column for The West Ender about people working in Vancouver's fast-paced film and television industry. I attend screenings and red carpet events. I sit on film festival juries. I interview our nation's shining stars, and I sing the praises of our homegrown industry on radio and television. And I also raise my girl full-time. I'm a master builder of blanket forts and a master maker of grilled cheese sandwiches and a master at keeping shampoo out of her eyes. That was hard to learn. And a master at vanquishing nighttime shadow monsters. They'd sound like they'd be such opposites, these two busy women leading completely different lives. The weekly byline and the playdate organizer, I am so good at that too. Set visits and meet the teacher nights. But the thing that shocks me the most, as I sit in my blanket fort and sip my tea and contemplate the events that led me to these particular comfy surroundings, is how little I knew 6 years ago as I barreled into this new phase of my life. Despite my determination and all of the blog posts that I'd read, my work life and my mom work life aren't separate. They don't awkwardly coexist like two neighbors nodding politely at each other when they chance to meet at the mailbox. They intertwine in a profound way that I never expected. In fact, my daughter invigorates my career in surprising ways. I need her and it in order to succeed in my career. And both lives are equally me. Both lives are Sabrina. Now, the blanket fort is my pillowy pink sanctuary. I pick up a pirate head and plop it atop my head and think, wow, this is the perfect space for reflection and a playground for ideas. Playground. Play. Now, that's a big part of my life as Mari's mom. Something I didn't do much of in the years before Mari, at least not since my late teens, when I very earnestly picked up that mantle of adulthood and started acting like I thought grown-ups acted. Organized, responsible, serious. There's no time for play when you're committed to being an organized, responsible, and serious adult. That's not to say that those quote-unquote grown-up characteristics don't serve me in my career. It's important to be responsible, organized, and serious. I need to get my column in by 3 p.m. every Friday. That's today. I gotta do that when I leave here. Meeting that deadline week in, week out requires my finely honed set of grown-up skills. Right? Play is important too. And work and play go hand in hand. The time I spend playing with my daughter spills over and colors my career with vibrancy and purpose. Take being silly. Now, as children, we embrace being silly. Silly is our default mode. Jumping on your bed with a pair of tights on your head because you look like a bunny, literally happened this morning, is awesome. You do it because it is silly, and silly is awesome. Since becoming a mother, I've reacquainted myself with my silly side, and I gotta tell you, jumping on your bed with a pair of tights on your head because you look like a bunny is awesome. When you make time for silliness, you flush out the static from your mind, all of the clutter that, for this writer at least, can make it hard to find the right words. Ridiculous is a state of mind, and its freedom is empowering. Now, in play situations, when things go wrong, most kids have this knack for putting things into perspective at a much faster rate than grown-ups do. Kids tend to bounce back quickly because, one, they tend not to overthink things the way that we do, and two, and I can't stress this enough, they just want to keep playing. Knock down the super complex catapult castle dream house it took you hours and thousands of pieces of Lego to build. Don't sweat it, start over. It's just Lego. Or, true story, stumble over your words while interviewing Canada's preeminent news anchor, Mr. Peter Mansbridge. Don't sweat it, start over. It's just Peter Mansbridge. He's a fellow grown-up who was once a kid. He's probably flubbed a couple of questions in his time. Heck, he's probably even knocked over a super complex Lego catapult castle dream house a couple of times too. That instant forgiveness, that ability to improvise in tight spots, was something that I had lost before I started playing again in the mom part of my life. Somewhere along the line, I dedicated myself to that grown-up paradigm, and I lost that ability to instantly forgive my flubs and move on to the next moment. What a joy it is to have it back. Making time for play and being present during play has given me the opportunity to cut through the layers that I heaped on myself in order to be a grown-up. I've kept the best part of being a grown-up: experience, wisdom, and I'm embracing the themes that keep coming up in play: spontaneity, imagination, the belief and understanding that anything is possible. You just have to believe, and joy. Sometimes the sink is full of dishes, and I need to reply to a dozen emails, and there are these tangled tumbleweeds of tangled cat hair and girl hair just bouncing across the kitchen floor, and I'm a little overwhelmed. And then a voice beckons me to a bedroom where a bed isn't a bed, but a pirate ship. And we can have the adventure of a lifetime, chasing treasure and meeting mermaids, but we have to leave now. And so I leave the dishes and the emails and the tumbleweeds of hair and all of my grown-up cares behind, and I hop onto her bed, and for a little while, I'm a pirate! So is she, and the adventure is invigorating and hilarious and musical, and it doesn't make sense, but you just have to go with it. And then the journey is done, and I still have that sink full of dishes and the unanswered emails and the dirty floor. But I've also had the joy of playtime with my daughter, and you can't tell me that that isn't important too. To her, obviously it's important, but also to me. I just got to be a pirate and play with mermaids. So play is therapy. Play is also, here's to play. Play is also perspective. One day when my daughter was in preschool, I visited her class and taught her and her classmates the 5 W's. Who, what, where, when, why, and explained what it is that I do as a journalist and an interviewer. I brought a sparkly novelty microphone, and I had them interview me and each other. It was hilarious. It was adorable. And almost 2 years later, it's still one of my daughter's favorite games. Play what mommy does. So she interviews me, and I interview her about our day or about stuff we made up. And when I look at her in these moments, her big eyes are mirrors. And I can see that she is seeing that I love my job. All my jobs. Through this line of play, she's actually become my cheerleader. The nature of my work means that there are certain times of the year, like right now in the lead up to the film festival, where I miss a lot of bedtimes and playtimes. But because we've role-played what it is that I'm actually doing for my paid gig, she cheers me on, literally. Go, mommy, go! And this helps me with the guilt that I feel, and I know I shouldn't feel, but I feel it, when I leave Mari for an event and I can't be the one to put her to sleep. It helps me to know that she understands that I love this work too, that it's fueled by passion and it's easy to play, and that she knows what it is that I'm doing when I'm not with her. It is not an easy road to navigate. We all know this. I mean, summertime. This past summer, when school was out, playtime and work time and grown-up time were in this constant heated battle for ultimate supremacy. And there were some weeks where I forgot I had a name other than Mommy. And there isn't always time for pirate ships or Lego towers or blowing bubbles in milk or kitchen dance parties. But in my schedule and in my life, those activities are important again. They're not just something Mari does on her own when I'm off doing something else grown up, at least not all of the time. They're things we frequently do together because we both need to. We both need to play. I wonder, as I sit crisscross applesauce in my blanket fort, pirate hat on my head, an army of stuffed dogs by my side, and I sip my tea, I wonder if I will still be compelled to build blanket forts when and if, heaven forbid, Mari commits herself to the grown-up paradigm and her need for those kind of structures dissipates. And I think I will. I think now I will always make time for play. Now that I found it again, I don't want to be without it. Thank you. Thank you.